Hello students, welcome back to Sri Vidyalakshmi Metric Higher Secondary School YouTube channel physics classes. Our school is taking efforts to help students community. We are uploading videos for class 10, 11 and 12 students on all subjects, on all concepts. We hope these videos would help you to understand the concepts better. In physics, we are discussing chapter 2, current electricity, and today we are going to discuss cells in series and cells in parallel. Let us see first internal resistance of a cell. What is internal resistance of a cell? You just consider this circuit. Imagine this is a battery. Imagine this is a battery which is connected to a resistor, Imagine a battery is connected to a resistor. V is the voltage here, R is the resistance, Consider a point A here, consider a point B here, and consider another point C here, consider another point D there. As soon as the battery is connected to the circuit, charges start to flow across the battery here from A to B here. When the charges start to flow in the circuit, when the charges are flowing from A to B, the charges, they get energy. Okay. And the power what is coming out here will not be the same here. It's because there is some internal resistance. There is some internal resistance here. Actually, there is some internal resistance. That resistance, to show that, we just add it here like this. There is some internal resistance. So together this is a circuit. We take that together, this is a circuit. You just take it like this. The battery has some internal resistance. Let it be R. Let the internal resistance be R. Okay. The EMF across the battery, let us take it as epsilon. Then if we measure voltage, it is not going to give the exact voltage because there is some internal resistance, so there will be some voltage drop here. If we connect a voltmeter here, that voltmeter reading V will be equal to I into R. Whereas here as there is some voltage drop, V will be equal to, actually, for example, if a battery has to give us 1.5 plus 1.53 voltage, if we connect a voltmeter, that is not going to show us the 3 voltage, there will be less than that because of internal resistance of the battery. So it is going to show us epsilon minus I into R, where I is the current, that will be the same. Epsilon is the EMF here, V is the voltage across the resistor, R is the resistance in the circuit, external circuit. Here only R is connected. Small r is internal resistance of the battery. Actually there is no battery connected in series. It is the resistance within the battery. Just for understanding, we have drawn there. So this equation can be written as I into R is equal to epsilon minus V. So what we have here? Here we have V equal to I into R. This is from Ohm's law, V equal to I into R. And here we have I suffix R. It is not I suffix R, I into R. I is current, R is internal resistance. That is equal to epsilon minus V. Here we have I into R equal to V. If we divide these two equations like this, that is I into R divided by I into R, where small r is internal resistance of the battery and R is the resistance connected there in the circuit. That is equal to epsilon minus V divided by V. I gets cancelled, then we have R divided by R equal to epsilon minus V divided by V. Then internal resistance R equal to epsilon minus V divided by V into R. With this equation we can calculate internal resistance of the cell. How much power is dissipated here? Power equal to I square R. Therefore, I square R amount of power is dissipated here. How much power is dissipated here? That is power equal to I square R, internal resistance. This much amount of power is dissipated here. Power equal to I square R. This much amount of power is dissipated in the external circuit or in the resistor which is connected here in the external circuit. Power equal to I square R, small r, that is the internal resistance of the battery. This much amount of power is dissipated here. Then what is the total power dissipated? Then that can be calculated this way, that power equal to I square R plus I square R. If we take I square common, current I square, we write R plus R. This much amount of power will be dissipated from the circuit. So this is the equation to calculate internal resistance of a battery, a cell or battery. If cells are connected in series, that's called a battery, isn't it? This is a battery. When cells are connected in series, then it's a battery. R equal to epsilon minus V divided by V into R is equation to calculate internal resistance of a cell. There will be some resistance internally for the battery because of some rods or wires or components present within the battery. Even if we take a Leclerc cell or Daniel cell, we use some zinc rod, isn't it? Zinc rod. So it will have some resistance. That's called internal resistance of the battery. Leclerc cell, Daniel cells are primary cells. They cannot be recharged. Okay. Whereas batteries like this, alkaline batteries, some batteries which you see in the advertisement, which is used in the car or bus or even in our home UPS, they are all rechargeable batteries. Reverse process of electrolyte will be done there. Okay, hope you understand this. We'll go to the next topic. This is about where cells are connected in series. When cells are connected in series, for example, even in our home, for a TV remote, if it requires 3 voltage, then what we do, we have 1.5 voltage of cell. 2 cells are connected in series. When the cells are connected in series, EMF is added, isn't it? You just imagine a circuit where cells are connected in series. Let epsilon 1 is the EMF of the first cell. Epsilon 2 is the EMF of the second cell. Epsilon 3 is the EMF of the third cell. Let R1 is internal resistance of the first cell. Let R2 is internal resistance of the second cell. Let R3 is internal resistance of the third cell. You just imagine a resistor is connected. Imagine a resistor R is connected there. Then effective resistance here for the batteries, for the effective resistance, we know that R sub x, when the resistors are connected in series, R sub x is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. If you apply this there, we can write that effective resistance for the batteries is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3, R1, R2 plus R3. In case if the resistors have same value, the resistors are equal, we can simply write this as R sub x is equal to N into R sub x is equal to N into R. When the resistors have same values, if all the 3 cells have equal internal resistance, then we can write R sub x is equal to N into R. For example, just for understanding, I tell you here that R sub x is equal to, in case 2 ohm plus 2 ohm plus 2 ohm, that is equal to 6 ohm, isn't it? R sub x, if 3 resistors are there, if the resistance is 5 ohm plus 5 ohm plus 5 ohm, that is equal to 15 ohm. So what we get here actually, you see that it is 3 into 5, isn't it? 3 into 5, here we get 3 into 2, isn't it? So it is nothing but, if the values are equal, then we can write that the effective resistance equal to n times of R. If the values are equal, then we can write it as n times of R. So you can write here effective resistance for the cells is equal to n into R. There is external resistor R connected there, it is also in series, So overall resistance in the circuit is equal to resistance offered by the battery cells plus external resistance of the circuit, because it is in series, it is connected in series. Now you apply Ohm's law, we have V equal to I into R. Ohm's law is V is equal to I into R. Then current in the circuit, current I is equal to V divided by R. Current I is equal to V divided by R, that is equal to epsilon. For epsilon also, if the EMF are equal, we can simply write that is equal to n into epsilon. For a TV remote, we need 3 voltage. We have 1.5 voltage cells, then we connect it in series, then we get 1.5 plus 1.5, 3 voltage. Some toy cars or some toys, we place 4 cells which is equal to 6 voltage, where each cell has 1.5 voltage. We connect all the 4 cells in series, then we get 6 voltage. So we can write n into E, when the EMF of the cells are equal, we can write it is n into E divided by R. R is a resistance, isn't it? Effective resistance, that is equal to n into R plus R, What is it? This is current in the circuit. Applying Ohm's law, we get V equal to I into R. Applying Ohm's law, we get this. Okay. Current I is equal to n into epsilon by nR plus R. So there are 2 cases we can discuss. Case 1, if internal resistance is very high when compared with R, when compared with the external resistance of the circuit, or external resistance, the internal resistance of the cells is very high, then R, external resistance, can be omitted, it is very small. So this equation becomes current I is equal to, we have n epsilon by n into R, because R we omit, because that is very less. Then n gets cancelled, then we get current I is equal to epsilon by R. Second case, in case if the internal resistance of the cells is very less when compared with the resistance of the external circuit, if the internal resistance is very less when compared with the resistance of the external circuit, that is capital R, then this equation becomes current I is equal to n into epsilon by n into R. We omit n into R, we get R. So it is very clear that you just compare these two equations, that we get more current here. So it's very clear that the cells should have very low internal resistance, because you just see here that this is almost equal to the current drawn by a single cell, because n gets cancelled, isn't it? Then this is equal to current drawn from a single cell. We connect many cells and we draw current from only one cell. What is the use of connecting the more cells there? So it is clear that the cells should have very low, as much as possible, low internal resistance, very less internal resistance, to have more current in the external circuit. This is cells in series. When the cells are connected in series, the EMF value will be added up. Next, let us discuss when the cells are connected in parallel. You just imagine a circuit where cells are connected in parallel, just like the previous one, where if the cells are connected in parallel. You just imagine a circuit like this. Okay, imagine a circuit like this where cells are connected in parallel. and this combination is connected to one external resistor R. This combination is connected to external resistor R. Let EMF here be psi 1, here EMF is epsilon 2, here EMF is epsilon 3. Internal resistance of the first cell is R1, internal resistance of the second cell is R2, internal resistance of the third cell is R3. Okay. See, in case of series connection, see, positive of one cell is connected to negative of another cell, and okay, and this positive of the second cell is connected to negative of the third cell. That's how connection is made for series connection. Whereas for parallel connection, you see positive to positive, positive to positive, negative to negative, negative to negative. This is for parallel connection, this is for series connection. In case of parallel connection, the EMF will be the same. For example, here if psi 1, psi 2, psi 3, this is 1.5 voltage, this is also 1.5 voltage, this is 1.5 voltage, then the potential difference at this junction, across the junction, will be equal to 1.5 voltage only. Whereas if we connect in series, 1.5 plus 1.5 plus 1.5, we get 4.5. Here you get only 1.5 voltage. Here, for example, if a EMF from a single cell is 1.5, here the effective EMF will be 1.5 only. Here effective EMF will be 4.5. It will be added up in case of series connection. Okay. Then you just here you just imagine these are all in parallel, isn't it? Then applying the formula 1 by Rp equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3, we can write that 1 by R sub x c effective resistance equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. This we get from the formula 1 by Rp equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. Effective resistance of resistors connected in parallel, 1 by Rp equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. So we can write 1 by R sub x c, in this case effective resistance equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. If all the resistors values are equal, if all the resistance values are equal, in case of parallel, we can write that R sub x c, we can write that R sub x c is equal to R divided by N, R divided by N. Just I will explain you. For example, you just imagine three resistors are connected like this. Three resistors are connected like this. Imagine three resistors are connected like this. Okay. Imagine three resistors are connected like this. This is also 3 ohm. This is also 3 ohm. This is also 3. Equal resistance. Equal resistance. Okay. In that case, what we can write? We can write 1 by Rp. 1 by Rp equal to 1 by 3 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 3. That is equal to 3 by 3. That is equal to 3 by 3. That is equal to 1. That is equal to 1. Then Rp is also 1. Rp is also 1 ohm. Rp is also 1 ohm. So it is nothing but Rp is equal to, general formula we can write that. For this we can write Rp equal to R by N. Rp equal to R by N. Resistance of one resistor divided by number of resistors connected. In case of parallel, in case of series, it will be N into R. Even the resistance values are equal. In case of parallel, it is R by N. In case of series connection, it is N into R. So that's what we follow here. So we get R sub x is equal to R by N. Using this formula, we write R sub x is equal to effective resistance equal to R divided by N, R divided by N. But this external circuit resistor R is connected in series. Therefore, the overall resistance in the circuit, effective resistance in the circuit, resistance of the circuit is equal to this R divided by N plus R divided by N plus R, because this resistance is connected in, this resistor is connected in series to the cells. Then apply Ohm's law, V equal to I into R, V equal to I into R, Ohm's law. Steady current flowing through a wire is directly proportional to potential difference between two ends of the wire when temperature remains constant. Current I is equal to, current drawn from the circuit, I is equal to epsilon divided by R, epsilon divided by R, epsilon divided by R. Here all the If cells are connected in parallel, all the cells are connected in parallel, then EMF will be the same. EMF will be the same. Okay, you just imagine all the batteries have the same EMF 1.5, 1.5, 1.5 like that. If they have same, then EMF will be the same. Then the resistance is equal to current I is equal to epsilon divided by effective resistance is equal to R divided by N plus R divided by N plus R. And this can be written as, that is equal to epsilon divided by R plus N into R divided by N, that can be brought up here. So we can write that we have current I is equal to N into epsilon divided by R plus N into R plus N into R. Here we have taken N common. So we get R plus N into R, that N is brought to numerator. So we get current I is equal to N into epsilon by R plus N into R. There are two cases we can discuss, where first case is if internal resistance of the cell is very, very high. Internal resistance of the cell is very, very high when compared with resistance of the circuit. Then the small r can be omitted. Then we get current I is equal to N into epsilon divided by R, where this is omitted because we consider that is very, very small. Resistance of the external circuit is very, very small. That's what we think here. The second case is where small r is very, very less, that is internal resistance of the cell. Internal resistance of the cell is very, very less, which can be omitted, which can be ignored. Then you can write that current I is equal to, from this current I is equal, we omit this small r, isn't it? Then we get N into epsilon divided by N into R. N gets cancelled, then we get epsilon by R. Okay. This is when R is small, r, internal resistance is very, very high. This is when internal resistance is very, very less. We get this N into epsilon by R, this is simply epsilon by R. So in case of batteries, when we use, generally the cells should have very, very low internal resistance, so that we can get more current in the external circuit. Okay. This is about cells in series and parallel. Now let us discuss Kirchhoff's rules. Kirchhoff's first rule. This is Kirchhoff's first rule. Kirchhoff's first rule says that algebraic sum of current meeting at a junction is 0. Algebraic sum of current meeting at a junction is 0. This is first rule. This is first rule. Kirchhoff's first rule is known as junction rule. It is according to law of conservation of charges. It is according to law of conservation of charges. Kirchhoff's second rule. Kirchhoff's second rule is based on law of conservation of energy. Law of conservation of energy. It is known as loop rule or voltage law, voltage rule. You just see here, I1 is flowing towards the junction, I1 is flowing towards the junction, I2 is also flowing towards the junction, I3 is flowing away from junction, I4 is also flowing away from junction, I5 is also flowing away from junction. Kirchhoff's first rule says that algebraic sum of current meeting at a junction is 0. So we can write for this I1 is towards the junction, therefore plus. I1 is flowing towards the junction, therefore plus. I2 is also flowing towards the junction, therefore plus I2, therefore plus I2. I3 is flowing away from junction, therefore minus I3, therefore minus I3. I4 is flowing away from junction, therefore minus I4, therefore minus I4. I5 is flowing away from junction, therefore minus I5, therefore minus I5. That is equal to 0. That's what Kirchhoff's law. Algebraic sum of current meeting at a junction is 0. If current is flowing towards the junction, take it as positive. If current is flowing away from junction, take it as negative. You just see that this is a junction. This is a junction. I1 is flowing towards the junction, I2 is flowing towards the junction, I3, I4, I5, they are flowing away from junction. then this equation can be rewritten, then we are going to get this current, isn't it? That is I1 plus I2 will be equal to I3 plus I4 plus I5. Okay. So, if we just rearrange this equation, we are going to get. So, we can say that current flowing towards the junction, sum of the current flowing towards the junction is equal to sum of the current flowing away from junction. Sum of the current flowing towards the junction is equal to sum of the current flowing away from junction. You can write like that. This is Kirchhoff's first rule. Kirchhoff's first rule says that algebraic sum of current meeting at a junction is 0. Algebraic sum of current meeting at a junction is 0. It is based on law of conservation of charge. It is based on law of conservation of charge. If current is flowing towards the junction, take it as positive. If current is flowing away from junction, take it as negative. Kirchhoff's second rule. Kirchhoff's second rule is based on law of conservation of energy. Kirchhoff's second rule is based on law of conservation of energy. In electromagnetic induction, Lenz's law is based on law of conservation of energy. In electromagnetic induction, Lenz's law is based on law of conservation of energy. Kirchhoff's second rule is also based on law of conservation of energy. Algebraic sum of product of current and resistance in a closed circuit is equal to algebraic sum of EMF of the closed circuit. Algebraic sum of product of current and resistance in a closed circuit is equal to algebraic sum of EMF of the closed circuit. This is Kirchhoff's second rule, also known as voltage rule. In this case, if current is flowing in clockwise direction, take it as positive. If current is flowing in clockwise direction, take it as positive. If current is flowing in anti-clockwise direction, take it as negative. To write equation for Kirchhoff's rule, if current is flowing in clockwise direction, take it as positive. If current is flowing in anti-clockwise direction, take it as negative. When we draw slope or when we measure angle, if we measure angle in anti-clockwise direction, that is positive. When we measure angle, if we measure any angle in anti-clockwise direction, that is positive. If we measure any angle in clockwise direction, that is negative. If we measure any angle in anti-clockwise direction, that is positive. If we measure angle in clockwise direction, that is negative. Whereas here, if current is flowing in clockwise direction, we should take it as positive. If current is flowing in anti-clockwise direction, we should take it as negative. That point you keep it in mind. So just see here that, for example, if I take this closed path, you see that let me write for A, B, E, F. We shall write equation for A, B, E, F. A, B, E, F. Okay. We say that algebraic sum of, let us start from here. What we have here, current I1 is there, resistance is 3 ohm, isn't it? Therefore, current is I1. So, algebraic sum of product of current and resistance. Therefore, I1 into R1. We have I1 into R1. The current is in clockwise direction. Therefore, it is positive. Here, I2. We have plus I2 R2 plus I2 R2 plus I2 R2. When it comes here, we have battery is connected there, that is equal to 24. That is equal to 24 voltage, and here the current is in clockwise direction, then it is positive. Then can be written as 3I1. Can be written as 3I1 because R1 is 3, isn't it? Therefore, 3I1 plus, you just see here R2 is also 3. Therefore, 3I2. That is equal to 24. This is the equation based on Kirchhoff's second rule for the closed loop A, B, E, F. Kirchhoff's second rule is applicable only for closed loops, not for open circuit, not for open loop. Kirchhoff's first rule is algebraic sum of current meeting at a junction is 0. It means that if the current is flowing towards the junction, you take it as positive. If current is flowing away from junction, take it as negative. If current is flowing away from junction, take it as negative. Okay. Algebraic sum of current meeting at a junction is 0. Here algebraic sum of product of current and resistance in a closed circuit is equal to algebraic sum of EMF of the closed circuit. That is second rule. Now we are going to apply this. We are going to apply this for Wheatstone bridge. You just see here, this circuit is called Wheatstone bridge. Based on Wheatstone bridge, meter bridge and potentiometers are discussed. Generally meter bridge. Okay. You see that here it is open. The circuit is open here. Then the current which is drawn here, I1, I2. I1 is directly flowing here. I2 is directly flowing there. In case if the key is closed, if it is closed, then current will flow here. Then instead of I1 you take it as I3, instead of I2 you take it as I4. When this is open, when the key is open, I1 will flow directly there, I2 will flow directly here, right? When the key is closed, when the switch is on, when the key is closed, current will flow here. Current flowing across the galvanometer, you take it as I sub Xg. I sub Xg is the current flowing through the galvanometer. Now let us apply Kirchhoff's first rule to junction B and then Kirchhoff's first rule to junction D. Then apply Kirchhoff's second rule to ABD, ADB and then apply Kirchhoff's second rule to ABCDA. Then we are going to get an equation P by Q equal to R by S. P by Q equal to R by S. That is Wheatstone bridge. Now apply Kirchhoff's first rule to this junction. If Kirchhoff's first rule says that all current flowing towards the junction is positive, if current is flowing away from junction is negative. Algebraic sum of current is 0 at a junction. So we can write that I1 is flowing towards the junction, then we can write that it is plus I1, plus I1. Ig is going away from junction, therefore minus Ig. This is the junction, Ig is going away. I3 is also going away, therefore minus I3. That is equal to 0. This equation can be written as I1 equal to Ig plus I3. I1 equal to Ig plus I3. Keep it as first equation. Apply Kirchhoff's first rule to junction D. Apply Kirchhoff's first rule to junction D. I2 is flowing towards the junction. Ig is also flowing towards the junction, whereas I4 is going away from junction. So we can write that plus I2 plus I2 plus Ig minus I4 is equal to 0, is equal to 0. This equation can be rewritten as I2 plus Ig is equal to I4, is equal to I4. Keep this as second equation. Now apply Kirchhoff's second rule to this closed circuit ABDA. If you are applying Kirchhoff's second rule to ABDA, if you are applying to ABDA, Kirchhoff's second rule is algebraic sum of product of current and resistance in a closed circuit is equal to algebraic sum of EMF, isn't it? So here product of current and resistance P into I1, P into I1, P into I1. If you just come here Ig into G plus Ig into G. Ig is the current, G is the resistance of the galvanometer. Current is in clockwise direction, so take it positive. In this case, if current is flowing in clockwise direction, it should be taken as positive. If current is flowing in anti-clockwise direction, it should be taken negative. And if you just come here, you just see here this is minus I2 into R equal to 0, because here current is in anti-clockwise direction, therefore minus. No battery is connected here. A battery is connected here, that should not be considered for this loop. A battery is connected between A and C. That should not be considered here, because we are considering only this closed loop. Okay, so this battery should not be considered. And this equation can be rewritten as P into I1 plus Ig into G is equal to I2 into R, equal to I2 into, keep this as third equation. Then apply Kirchhoff's second rule to this rule, this loop A, B, C, D, A. If you are applying it to A, B, C, D, A, for that we get I1 into P, we get I1 into P, and if you come here it is I3 into Q plus I3 into Q. It is plus because current is in clockwise direction. Here current is in anti-clockwise direction. Please treat this as I3, treat this as I4. when current is flowing through galvanometer. When current is flowing through galvanometer, take this as I3, take this as I4. When the key is open, no current is flowing through the galvanometer, then only I1 will flow directly there, I2 will flow directly there. So now it is I3 into Q plus I4 into PQRS, okay, and take this as S. This is given as X for calculation convenience. You just take it as S. Then I4 into S. I4 into S. This I4 into S, this is, you just see that the current is in anti-clockwise direction, therefore it should be minus I4 into S, minus I4 into S, because the current is in anti-clockwise direction. Current is flowing like this, it is in anti-clockwise direction. And here minus I2 into R, minus I2 into R, current, product of current and resistance. Here current is in anti-clockwise direction, therefore minus, that is equal to 0, that is equal to 0. This equation can be rewritten as I1 into P plus I3 into Q is equal to I4 into S plus I2 into R, I2 into R. Let this equation be 4, let this equation be 4. Here at one stage, even when the key is on, when the switch is on, when the key is connected, if you take Ig equal to 0, if you take Ig equal to 0, if you take that Ig equal to 0, okay, when Ig equal to 0, if Ig equal to 0, it means that no current is flowing through galvanometer, it means that there is no potential difference between B and D. If Ig is equal to 0, it means that no current is flowing through galvanometer. Current will not flow through galvanometer when there is no potential difference between B and D. If Ig equal to 0, these equations can be rewritten like this. If Ig equal to 0, you just look at this, we can write that I1 is equal to I3. If Ig equal to 0, if Ig equal to 0, I1 equal to I3. If Ig equal to 0, we can write I2 is equal to I4, I2 is equal to I4. If Ig equal to 0, in this equation we can write that P into I1, we can write that P into I1, this term becomes 0, isn't it? That is equal to I2 into, that's equal to I2 into R, that is equal to I2 into R, that is equal to I2 into R. Come to this equation, Ig equal to 0, Ig equal to 0. You just see here, for this equation we can write that I1 and I3, I1 equal to I3, I1 equal to, that if you substitute here, you are going to get I1 common, then P plus Q. You can get P plus Q into I1, P plus Q into I1 equal to, okay, because I3 is also I1, I3 is also I1 when Ig equal to 0. So instead of I3 you substitute I1, take I1 common, then you get P plus Q. Then P plus Q into I1 equal to, in the right side I4 plus I4S plus I2S. We have I2 here, then take I4. I2 is equal to I4, then instead of I4 you write take I2. Then you get I2, take I2 common, then you get S plus R, you get S plus R. When Ig equal to 0, when no current is flowing through galvanometer, there is no potential difference between B and D. Then we can take this equation like this. Okay, instead of, you get I1 equal to I3, I2, that's what the current will flow directly, isn't it? Then instead of I3 you substitute I1 there, here instead of I4 you substitute I2. Okay, instead of I3 you substitute I1, instead of I4 you substitute I2. Then if you divide these two equations, if you are dividing these two equations, we are going to get P into I1 divided by P plus Q, divided by P plus Q into I1, that is equal to I2 into R, divided by I2 into S plus R, I2 into S plus R. I1 gets cancelled, I2 gets cancelled. I1 gets cancelled, I2 gets cancelled. Then we will get P divided by, and then rearrange the equation like this. P plus Q divided by P, that is equal to S plus R divided by R, right? We can write like this. Then this can be written as P divided by P plus Q divided by P, that is equal to S divided by R plus R divided by R, R divided by R. P divided by P1, R divided by R1 gets cancelled. Then we have Q by P is equal to S by R. That can be written again as P by Q equal to R by S. We can write it as P divided by Q is equal to R divided by S. This is the required equation for Wheatstone bridge. In Wheatstone bridge, P, Q, R, S. P, Q, R, S. When Ig equal to 0, when no current is flowing through galvanometer, P by Q equal to R by S. That you have to keep it in mind. P by Q equal to R by S. In Wheatstone bridge, we are applying Kirchhoff's first rule and second rule. Kirchhoff's first rule is algebraic sum of current meeting at a junction is 0. We are applying Kirchhoff's first rule to A, B, D, A. For this point, we are applying Kirchhoff's first rule. Okay. And then we are applying Kirchhoff's second rule to, we are applying Kirchhoff's first rule to the junction B and then D. If current is flowing towards the junction, take it as positive. If current is flowing away from junction, take it as negative. Kirchhoff's second rule is algebraic sum of product of current and resistance in a circuit is equal to algebraic sum of EMF of the closed circuit. Apply Kirchhoff's second rule to A, B, D, A and then A, B, C, D, A. When we are applying Kirchhoff's second rule, if current is flowing in clockwise direction, take it as positive. If current is flowing in anti-clockwise direction, take it as negative. When Ig equal to 0, when no current is flowing through galvanometer, I1 will be equal to I3, I2 will be equal to I4. That value you substitute and then rearrange, we are going to get the equation P by Q equal to R by S. P by Q equal to R by S. This is Wheatstone bridge equation. Based on this Wheatstone bridge, meter bridge is working. Based on this equation, you will get many problems in the examination. Hope students you understand the concept. Okay. Please continuously watch our school YouTube channels, YouTube videos. We expect your comments. It could be positive comments, even it could be negative comments. If we need your suggestions to improve our performance. Continuously watch the class 12 all videos. Okay. We hope these videos will help you to understand the concept better and score good marks in the board examination. Thank you. Please watch these videos regularly and put your comments and also subscribe our school YouTube channel and also inform your friends to make use of this. Okay. Thank you children. Thank you.